It is now time for the Creatives.
The Creatives Thursday.
Yep.
And we are not alone in studio.
Yeah.
We are joined by an amazing man. This one. He has a story and a half. I'm telling you. Yeah? Frederick Muitiriri.
My blessed name.
Yeah? Shuka. Neno gani lile ambalo lilikuweko kwenye mtandao juzi? Mpiaro ndivyo hivyo. Tukaona mpiaro jina mpiaro limesambaa. Tukashangaa namna gani mpiaro ndio nini hii?
Mpiaro ni mtu ambaye ana tabia za maneno ambayo ni maneno machafu. Kila wakati. Mpiaro tunapea watu ambao mdomo wao kidogo
una maneno machafu. Alright, this is Frederick Muitiriri, a news anchor, a media personality, a former
police officer.
Yep. And right now, Kacha Bunduki left the pen, the gun
for the pen.
Yep. Welcome to Power Radio.
Asante sana. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Long time. I was a radio man many years ago, but now ndio hali ya maisha. Sasa niko kwa TV. Unaniona nyumbani, basi wananisalimia. Naonekana sasa, naonekana jamani.
Ulikuwa blind media before. But right now people can see you.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you can get to where you are right now?
Never in my lifetime.
Wow.
I never thought, because I come from the village. I was born, raised in the village. I grew up speaking Kikuyu all my life, so I never thought even one day I would speak Kiswahili or English. And the last like 13 years or so, nimekuwa nikikulia Kiswahili na Kizungu.
Yeah.
It's by the grace of God. Absolutely, the grace of God. Being here ni Mungu tu. Hatuwezi sema ni kitu kingine chochote, ni Mungu tu. Yep.
And you know, it's good to look at what is happening in the creatives industry, because I believe being a journalist requires a lot of creativity and open to whatever is happening in the creatives industry. First of all, lazima uwe mweledi wa lugha ambayo unazungumza. How do you get to that particular point?
It's practice. Everything is by practice. And it takes so many years to be good at what you do. Saizi kizungu changu kiliingia maji kitambo. Nilikuwa napiga kizungu mahali tulikuwa nawe, unakumbuka?
Nakumbuka. Kabla wafunge kama bwana
tulikuwa na Dan TV ilikuwa inaitwa Switch. Nilikuwa napiga kizungu
kabisa.
So the more you practice, the more you become good at it. Kwa sasa nazungumza Kiswahili peke yake. Na nimekuwa nikizungumza Kiswahili for some time now. And the more you speak it, the more you read it, the more you engage with books, you become very good at what you do.
Yeah.
Your
journey started a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I understand, as you just mentioned earlier on, you were a police officer. Graduated.
Yep.
And you had a job and a salary.
Yeah.
And you know that is the only place where you go. Unajua ukishaingia hivi, hiyo ni job direct.
Nilichukuliwa kuwa polisi 2004.
Yeah.
Nikaenda Kiganjo, nika-train. 2004 ilikuwa 17th of December. Nika-train miezi 9 Kiganjo, nika-graduate. Nikapiga mwezi mmoja, nikaenda GSU, nikapiga mwezi mwingine pale Field Training School, Magadi, alafu nikatumwa Isiolo. Nikapiga miaka 3. Yep. Kule kichaka ndani, kule ambao jua inatokea saa 12 asubuhi, alafu inaisha saa 2 usiku, joto kweli.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was there for 3 years, and I decided I need to do what God called me to do. I believe me being in journalism is a calling from God.
Yeah.
I truly believe this is a calling. So nimepiga polisi, nimefanya kazi yote ya polisi ambayo unajua, kushika maabusu, kupeleka seli, kukaa pale kwa OB, kupeleka kotini, yote nimefanya. Sababu siku zangu prosecutors walikuwa maafisa wa polisi, hawakuwa, it was under the old constitution. It was not under the 2010 constitution, because it was between 2004 and 2008. So nimefanya hiyo kazi yote ya kupeleka watu kotini, ni mashtaka na wafungulia, ndio hayo yote nimefanya.
Na hongo ulichukua kwa sababu yote ulifanya.
Lakini ndugu yangu The good thing is, I got born again in 2003.
Wow.
When I cleared high school. Nilimaliza 2003. Nikaokoka. Nikiingia polisi nilikuwa nimeokoka.
Wow.
Nilikuwa kwaya ya polisi.
Okay.
Nilipoenda Isiolo kulikuwa na kanisa moja pale, nilikuwa mahali kunaitwa Modogash. Modogash ni mpakani mwa Isiolo na Garissa.
Okay.
My police station was called Sericho. So there were 2 churches there. It's 220 kilometers from Isiolo town. That was our headquarters. There was a church there called ACCNDS, and then there was the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I ended up being like the pastor.
Wow.
Wa kanisa la ACCNDS tukiwa na jamaa anaitwa Gitahi Manthu.
Okay.
So mimi nahubiri this Sunday, yeye nahubiri the other Sunday. So I preach this Sunday, he preaches the other Sunday. So he became like the pastor. Sasa wewe ndio pastor kule kanisani, kweli utachukua hongo? Ngumu
sana, lakini unajua wachungaji sasa hizi tunaona wachungaji, men of God are really misusing.
You're one of them.
Yeah.
Usisahau. Unapaka kola. Usisahau. Nasema men of God ni wewe.
Are you trying to make me to stop presenting my petition?
No, before you say anything, just remember.
Some men of God.
Yes.
Some men of God are misusing.
Yeah.
Because you'd find someone and say, if it is even written in the Bible. You know, we are truthful men. We are truthful men. You know, it is written in the Bible.
Why are you targeting one man?
If you meet with a police officer, you malizana with this person before you mwende kule mbele. Because it is in the scripture.
You can't. You cannot substitute corruption with whatever you are trying to say. A corrupt person is a corrupt person. You cannot call them anything else apart from being corrupt. And you cannot go saying, enda malizana na polisi. Let me say this. Police officers in Kenya are not corrupt.
It's the people.
We have a culture of corruption. There's a problem in our country. And it's a culture that was inculcated for such a long time. For 2 governments, from 1963 all the way to 2002, that culture was inculcated in us. And so, kuitoa ni ngumu. Kuitoa ni ngumu sana.
All right.
So it will take the same amount of time it took for the culture kwenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And maybe I can ask, other than being a journalist, what else are you passionate about?
I preach in high schools.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's one of the things I'm very passionate about in acting. I do a lot of acting and speaking about marriage with my wife. So we're very passionate with my wife because we feel it's a calling for us to just speak to marriages.
Wow.
So we have a YouTube channel, tunaenda tunaongea mambo ya ndoa kidogo.
Nice.
We have fun while at it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're an actor. You're an actor.
Daniel.
We were in the same...
we schooled with him.
The powerhouse team.
Yes.
Hey.
But the best he got was the Adjudicators Award. And then you get the Adjudicators Award. Ile, bro.
You've done well. But
you know, if you're an actor and you go for a competition, and then you're like the most disciplined, the moment you start getting those awards, Barbara,
you're pathetic actor.
Hiyo ni kupanguza macho kama nusu mkate.
But what you don't know is when we were schooling together, I had depression.
Really?
Very few people know that. I had severe depression.
You're very lively. You are a very good stage actor. Though sometimes tulikuwa tunakwambia una overact, but it's something we didn't know on a light note.
As battling depression. And it came from, I think, my childhood. I didn't value myself the way. You know, you've come to Nairobi. I grew up in the village, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm thinking I'm not good enough. You know, the way you tell yourself you're not good enough so many times.
Yeah.
Until it gets to you, because you're seeing guys. I am acting with Abel Mutua. We were in the same play group.
Yeah.
Ule mkurugenzi. Anaitwa mkurugenzi.
Yes.
Mkuru.
Yeah.
Kina Njugush tuko nao. And these guys were astute actors and actresses.
Hujanitaja ni this astute actor and actor.
Huyu alikuwa ile kitu tulikuwa ya kuimba ya kurukaruka. All of us. cannot be a good astute actor with choruses.
Marimba.
Kuna kitu alikuwa anapigaga hivi. What was that thing?
Daniel.
What was that thing?
It's called marimba. No.
You guys. So, I think it hit me at around 2010 or 2011. I was still in college.
Yeah.
And so for like 3 or 4 years, I battled that depression like nobody's business. So I'm going to work. I noted one day, just before we cleared Kole, ndio nili notice I had depression. So I started. I'm a news reader, and so that time I was an intern at a place called Ken TV. So I started one day. Yesterday I was doing scripting, like script 10 minutes. I started doing with 1 hour, and I'll struggle reading. What? And I couldn't differentiate between a he and a she. So even writing became a problem.
Wow.
And so it became so bad such that when I met my girlfriend, who is now my wife, one day she heard me speaking and she looked at me, and she's an English literature teacher.
Why?
That time. Akanisikiza nikiongea akaniambia, "Umesema nini?" Akasema, "I'm referring to a man, she."
Yes.
Like several times. She went like, "Say it again." I repeated. Said, "You're not okay." I repeated the very same thing. She told me, "You're not okay." And from that time, I started writing composition. I will send them to her. Should mark, return them 4 out of 20.
If it's 6, If
Yeah.
it's not like this, we
don't want it.
Wow.
Yeah, she helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So anaandika ma composition zangu, nikaenda nikipandishaga to 12 out of 20, 14. Venye nilifika 16 nikamwambia niko sawa sasa.
Good to
But
go.
also I went to a Bible school. I think through, there's you do a lot of prayers every day when you're in Bible school. You do a lot of prayers, you wake up prayers, you fast, you sleep prayers, you Bible class, there's so much. And there's so much you're taught about yourself in Bible school that you rediscover yourself.
Wow.
And so I came to learn that I was struggling with rejection. Yeah. And so prayed about it. We did a lot of activities about it. There's a lot of counseling that happened.
Yeah.
Became whole.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, going back to the newsroom, especially with this generation, what are some of the mistakes that these young people do? Now that we've seen very many young people, they want things on their table, like easy stuff, microwave tap mara moja ingia hapa, hataki kwenda kukava story korogosho, anataka kwenda tu breakfast, anataka tu kwenda breakfast meetings. Pressers are break. Those are the stories they want to go for. They want cocktails za jioni, as in they don't want hard stories. Yeah.
I would have started by this. I'm an award-winning journalist.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it for the sake of it, because I won it this year. So it's still in my mind. And the story that won that award, the Ajia Award, I went to Baringo, and I was a desk editor. I was a managing editor Kiswahili at TV47 that time.
Yeah.
And I decided, I was seeing young people, and believe you me, that was the reason I did this story. I was seeing young people, you tell them, do this, and they think, you have never done this. You can tell the way they think, Fred, you have never done this. By that time, I think, it was just the other day, 2022, 2021. I'm thinking, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. And so I decided, let me just go to the field and do a story that is not any other story. Where did I go to? Baringo. And I went to Baringo last year, February, when they were fighting. And there was the previous government, and they couldn't do anything about it. I interviewed the governor, Trans Nzoia governor, Natembea. By that time, he was Rift regional commissioner. And so he told me, enough time he called the cabinet secretary for interior, he will not pick his calls.
Yeah, I remember.
I did that interview myself. And he said so many times that place was so bad, such that no one was picking his calls. People would be killed, no one would say anything. And so I went to that place when that time was like hell on earth. And so I went to different places. I came up with a documentary of around 40 minutes. It took me almost like a week to just go there, collect materials. We'll go to a place. Unasikia, tumetoka hapo, unasikia watu watano wamepigwa risasi hapo.
What?
I got to a place, we have to kuchukua polisi wa RDU, Rapid Deployment Unit, to take you to some places because you cannot go on your own. So when I came back, I worked on it. It was a very good story. Still there. It was a very, very good story. I got the reasons why they're still fighting. There's a lot of gold in Baringo. And so I won an award. And I knew it took a lot of sweat. So young people that I'm seeing in newsroom nowadays, most of them do not want to do the dirty work. And they do not have work ethics. Unfortunately, I do not know who taught them that everything will come at a go. That you kipuliza firimbi, utapata. There's a lot of hard work. My big boss, we were, sorry I got late with like few minutes because I was meeting our big boss, Joe Ageo. And that guy was a field reporter in 2001. And this is somebody who has gone through the ranks. Why? Because he put in the work. Kazi ya journalism need a lot of work. And you have to have those work ethics. And work ethics need discipline. Usidanganya na kitu kingine. Young people, what I'm seeing nowadays in newsroom, hawatai kuambiwa.
All right.
You tell them, it becomes Nevita.
They know better.
Anakuambia, pana hiyo story naweza fanya hivi. Like,
well. How do you manage to deal with the tight deadlines in a newsroom? Because uko ni moto.
You should have seen me at 1 p.m. I was the desk editor. It's crazy. Just like I said, journalism is a lot of practice. Do not be lied to. No one woke up one day, they were good at what they do. Jeff Koinange did not wake up one day and he was as good. It's many years of doing the same thing. And discipline. And I think that this is where my police work come to play. Because kazi ya polisi kona a lot of discipline. And so kazi ya newsroom need discipline because you cannot be late even with a second. Like I was telling you, I used, when we were working with Dan, where we were working at, I was working, my average staff member was 22. That was the average age. And so I had to deal with a lot of young people. I was the oldest, over 35 by that time. And so I have to deal with these young people who do not know anything apart from what they say, Gen Z. And work ethics, they do not know. And so I had to be like I was telling you, a military man in a newsroom to teach them how the newsroom works, because you cannot go on air past a minute.
Very true.
Because there is a client who paid for airtime of 30 seconds. And there is no way you can go beyond that 30 seconds. Sometimes, today we were discussing in our office, there's a day my anchor, I was the desk editor, and then the anchor, nikapitisha na muda tu. And then Jamaa production, sorry, that's my phone that is, we are live on TikTok. So sorry. So Jamaa wa programming, akasema, mumepitisha na 30 seconds. Akatunyoa hewani.
Allah.
Even the anchor did not say goodbye. Hakuna hata tu kurudi studio, alisema mumepitisha time 30 seconds.
Get out.
What?
So it's a lot of discipline and kujipanga, work ethics. You have to be very smart at that.
Wow. Can anybody become a journalist? And can anybody actually become a news anchor?
Because if you look at Joe Ageo, when he started, bwana, ile kijana ilikuwa mtu na anchor tu reporting from, you know.
He never studied journalism, by the way.
What?
No, he never. He ni mtu environment.
Allah.
Yeah.
So
baadaye ndio amekuja kusomea. So I tend to think, just like teaching, journalism is a calling. And it's in you.
Okay.
You can only be given some skills, but hakuna mtu atakwambia vile ambao utakaa hapa for 4 hours speaking. It's in you. You've got to go. So many people cannot speak for 4 hours. You give them 10 minutes, they freeze. They freeze. But you can speak for 4 hours. Unaongea tu na ujue hata unaongea nini. Unaongea tu. You can do that even if you're given a whole day, Even if you're given a whole day, you still speak. So for this career, what you need, well, I tend to think you need skills that you cannot just get them from the world. You need to go to a good university or a good college that will give you those skills. So, but I think it's a calling. It's inside of you. Sasa college inaenda kuitoa tu ndani yako.
So it has to be a calling.
You
can't just wake up and decide, you know what? I am going to be a journalist.
No. It is a calling.
Yes. Amazing. Being a news anchor, it's something else altogether. And especially being a news anchor for a national TV station is a very big difference, because I've worked for different media houses. I started out with KTN as an intern. I went to Inoro TV, I went to Radio Maisha. When I was starting at Radio Maisha, because I was doing Kiswahili as a news anchor, ilikuwa ngumu. I was trained by a lady called Abubakar. She trained me. She had come from BBC. So there's a lot of training that goes into it. Now for TV, it's totally different. It's a different field altogether.
All right.
And especially for somebody who, like me, who is interviewing big guests.
Yes.
I have a show every Monday that you're expected to. This is where you are the face of big interviews for that company.
Yeah.
The beginning of this year, we interviewed the president. I've interviewed the president twice. When he was elected at the Bomas of Kenya, because I was at the Bomas of Kenya in August. And the first media interview he held in January, we are the people who interviewed him. So you're expected to interview the president. Now put yourself in my shoes if you're never ready for such events. And I actually asked for it. They wanted English guys. I am the one who pushed for Kiswahili segment. Told them Kiswahili lazima kiheshimiwe.
Kabisa.
Tukuwe na rais 1.5 hours, kizungu mujipange hiyo nyingine. Because I felt the interview from the beginning was in English. It was supposed to be in English, but I told them no, we have to have Kiswahili. So sometimes you have to push. And when I pushed for it, I said I'm going to do it.
Wow. So there's I don't know why I feel like you kind of need some training like the royal family. You know, how to speak, how to talk, how to dress, how because you end up being
some constructions going on there. Yes,
it's all right.
So you end up being, as you're saying, the face of the company. So can someone learn all these things as they're gearing towards being a news anchor?
Yes, you can learn. You can learn, but I think more of mentorship.
Okay.
Yeah, because we went to a very good college. One of the best in East Africa. I can say that without a shadow of doubt.
Absolutely. I agree.
Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, it's the best. We were trained for 4 years. I was there for 4 years. Most guys were there for 3 years. I was there for 4 years. You're doing the same thing and you're being trained how to... We have every equipment that you need. That is out there. And so by the time we were leaving, and I kept telling guys, mimi nilikuwa ready kuandikwa job. See internship, I was ready for the job.
Nice.
So there's that training, but kuja kwa field unapata, it's totally different. You need a lot of mentorship. You need somebody to take you through and tell you, this is our style, this is how we do it. Because the way I was doing it at Switch TV, it was very different from the way I was doing it at TV47. I was doing it at Inoro TV. I was used to be at Inoro TV. It's very different from what I'm doing at NTV. Because they're house styles.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, as we wind up, we have around 3 minutes.
Winding up.
It just feels like we started.
My God.
Now, talk about social capital, especially for journalists. The importance of going out to the field and meeting people, just capitalizing on that particular field aspect. Because unapata kuna ule mwana habari, a young person wants to be a journalist, but I want to be in the office looking good in a suit.
So I believe, and I keep telling young people when they come to a newsroom, the first thing I tell them, you are as good as your last story, not appearance on TV. Your last story. That is how good you are. A good journalist is a journalist who goes to the field. Journalism is not sitting down and just speaking. No, you have to go out and get content for it to be heard. I started out as a field journalist. I used to be a reporter, a human interest reporter, a political reporter. I became a news producer, a creative producer, news editor, just as, you know, because when you go out, the people I keep calling today are the people I interviewed in 2014 in Parliament. Because I was a parliamentary reporter back in 2014. So you've got to get out and get connections. I see guys who write for our newspaper, Daily Nation. They make calls, and that guy can call anyone in Parliament, anyone CSs. He will sit down, because these are the same people they were with when they were MPs, senators.
As they're growing through the
These are the
ladder.
CSs. Kindiki Kithure was a senator. Kipchumba Murkomen, a senator. All these guys you are seeing, these are the same people that you used to, and they started very small when they were doing their campaign. Some of them wanted to be MCAs. They were elevated. So you have to go out and get the story, and the story is never in the newsroom. The story is he's in the field.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Wow.
for your time.
That was amazing.
Mezoea mazee kukaa naongea for 2 hours. Nisikia kama ndio tunaanza.
It's a pleasure having you here.
Asante.
Perhaps you, if Barbara has a question, we'll talk about briefly. There's a question I had for you, but I think it's just skipped my mind.
I'll say this though. Beyond everything else, trust God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trust God and be very patient. Eventually, it will bear fruits.
Wow.
All right, we have
You
a
have
caller
to-
here. Barbara, hello.
Hello, how are you? Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Evening.
I'm fine. Thank you. My name is Emmanuel.
Hi,
Yes, Emmanuel.
I'm touched by our guest today.
Oh, wow.
I wanted just to understand from him, is he able or is he doing some maybe mentorship programs for the young ones?
Wow.
Or even the old ones like myself who want to do the video?
Very good
But I'm
question.
touched by him, at least we share the same background.
Yeah.
I've been a cop and I understand what he's saying.
Wow.
Awesome. Good stuff.
So is there a program that's running like in mentorship or something, and if one wants to reach to him for further engagement,
Yes.
All right.
would he be willing to leave maybe his handles on social media?
Oh,
Okay.
definitely. So if
All right.
he's asking if I'm doing any, mostly I go to high schools. So because I believe this is where you can be able to grow a seed and it will grow very well.
Yeah.
But I go to universities and campuses to speak to students when I'm called upon, but I don't have a program that I say this is a program I'm running. However, I can always do that to anyone who can reach out.
Wow.
So I'm at Fred Muitiriri everywhere you go.
Okay.
There is no other Fred Muitiriri on social media. I can tell you that Muitiriri is a family name.
All right.
So Fred Muitiriri anywhere, or Frederick Muitiriri on Facebook, you find me. Anytime you text me, I'll get it.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
you.
Again, we don't have time. Time is up. The news team is on my head. You know how you people operate.
I know.
Your shout outs.
Yeah. I want to thank my wife.
Oh.
Yeah. I have the best wife in this world. I wouldn't be here far and large if it were not for her. Of course, God has been there.
Yeah.
He's been very kind to me. But my wife has been very supportive, through the journey. Because hata kazi tumefutwa mara kadhaa na tunashukuru Mungu. Na tuko tu hapa.
Wow.
Yeah, so I want to thank that good lady. May the Lord bless her. And my children. I'm a father of girls, 3 of them.
Wow.
Hey.
6.9 FM, Pearl Radio.